2 hours later.
Hey everyone, a very quick editing Kirsty here just to say I was filming this the same week that I also started filming for Summerween. I talk about it later in the video, but I have decided to scrap the Summerween vlog, but I was so proud of my intro for it. So I'm going to show you it here and then we will swiftly move back into this week and what's going on. So here is my intro for the Summerween vlog. Happy Summerween! I really love how it came out, and it was just a random idea that I had. But anyway, as I said, I talk later on about some of the issues I have with Summerween and talk at the very end about scrapping it. If there are any nods or mentions of it throughout this vlog, it's because I was at that time filming and it was too much effort to edit it all out and explain it all through the vlog. So yeah, this is what we're stuck with. On to the vlog. Hope you enjoy a week in the life. Hello, how are we all? Welcome to a week in the life featuring me, myself and I. This was a very impromptu, spontaneously decided upon video. I had the idea Saturday, I planned the video Sunday, and now we're in Monday. I was inspired by Gavin for this video where he did a month-long look at how much he works through a month and looked at every single day and calculated, you know, how many hours does he actually put into YouTube, especially as he does it as a full-time content creator. Now, I am not a full-time content creator, however, it is something I would love to eventually be able to do. At the moment, I am a chronically ill, currently unable to work, signed off with disability, ironically filming this in an active migraine and just trying to pretend that I am not actually in incredible pain and have been since 2 o'clock this morning. This is a week where I actually have quite a few things going on. I don't always have stuff going on through the week, but this week I do have quite a few things. One of them I will say has been because I can feel how shitty my head is right now. I have already called up and said, hey, can I reschedule? Because I'm supposed to be having an MRI scan this evening, but I'm running on not even 4 hours sleep and an active migraine right now. By the time I've done my grocery shopping, by the time I've done other things that I need to get done, it's not happening. So I've already called them, apologised profusely and asked for a reschedule. So what is the plan for this week? I have a few things going on. Each day what I'm going to do is similarly to what Gavin did, and if you haven't seen it I will link it below. But similarly to what he did, I'm going to have a little graphic with a schedule of sorts for the day. They are not set in stone. I will caveat this by saying I am a chronic migraine sufferer. I suffer with blackouts, fainting spells, chronic fatigue, and I also have really bad insomnia. So I never know in a day when my body is going to shut down. It is lovely to have a nap. It is great when you can feel a bit tired, decide I'm going to go for a nap, have a lie down. My body doesn't do that. My naps are 90% not my choice. My body will shut down and it's a case of go to sleep or pass out. Sometimes both. I fall asleep because I'm passing out. I never know how it's going to go. There are personal things as well as actual work things. Each day I'll sit down and like I do with my little group chat over on Discord, we have an accountability section in the chat. So I'll post on there all the things I want to try and get done that day or the essentials that I need to get done, talk you guys through it, tell you what my plan is for the day, and then yeah, each day we will just see how much I actually can get done in a week, as well as give you kind of a realistic look into the life of what it is like to try and balance having multiple chronic disabilities and illnesses alongside wanting to become and aspiring to become a professional YouTuber, booktuber, and all of that. So, you know, it's going to be partly an insight, partly just a bit of fun. Things that I will be counting towards my hours. So anytime I do anything relating to vlogs. So for my reading, if I am reading for specific things, I'm currently a judge for a competition called the BBMYA Awards. I can't really talk about what books I'm reading for it because that's until they've released the winners of each round, you're not really supposed to say. I can say that I am a judge, and it's the Book Bloggers Novel of the Year Award. It's my 3rd year as a judge. The deadline for it is this week for the first round, so I am making my way through those. So whenever I read and do stuff for that, that will count. When I read books for specific vlogs, like at the same time as doing this vlog, I'll also be doing a Summerween vlog as it's my first Summerween. So for that, I will be reading specific books. I will also be doing some specific activities as well as watching a couple of things. And all of that because I am, you know, I don't watch horror movies, but because I am watching a horror movie for that vlog, I count that as work. Other people might not, but I will count that as work, so that will go into my hours. If I'm scrolling social media, no, but if I am posting and actively responding to things on social media, that will count. I did have a list of other things. Also, if I'm traveling anywhere, I don't think I will be, but if I travel to a thing that is specifically bookish, I will count that as travel out work hours. And then yeah, anything that's personal stuff, any generic reading that I do that's not for a specific blog or a specific project, and yeah, anything else that I do outside of YouTube stuff won't count. And it's just going to be a fun look into my week and see how much work I actually can get done while combating health stuff. And at the minute with the weather in the UK, a week ago we were in 32, 33 degrees, now we're back down to 20, and by the end of this week we're due to be back up at 30. If you are a chronic health sufferer, you're probably also having the absolute week from hell, because sudden temperature shifts and these kind of up and down temperatures and not knowing what to do, as well as the rain and the mugginess and the heaviness, it is a disaster soup waiting to boil. And oh boy, am I boiling. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I'll come back very soon with my Monday plans and what's going on, and we'll get into the full meat of things. Today, which is Monday the 7th of July, I'm going shopping at 9 AM. I have a phone call at 11:30, and then I've already said I was due to have my MRI this evening, but I have called to ask to reschedule because I just can tell today is going to be an extremely bad day, and it already is and has been a really bad start and a really rough start. However, I do still have some things that I'm going to do. Okay, so this vlog is already going so freaking well. I already said earlier that I've rescheduled my MRI. I've also just been in touch and rescheduled my other thing for today. I've managed to eat. I have my energy drink. Honestly, any plans and anything I wanted to do today is now being moved to tomorrow. I feel like absolute crap. Happy Monday. I'm gonna go maximize all of my medication and, heavens be kind, be asleep within the next couple of hours. 'Tis the life. Hello, it is technically Tuesday and it is 1 AM, hence why I'm talking so quietly. I ended up sleeping from lunchtime, 12 o'clock, until 9 PM. I'm still really struggling with my head, but I needed food, so I got up, I had pizza. I'm going back to bed very soon, but I need to schedule my video for today and then go back to bed. We shall see how that goes, and I'll talk more when it's more socially appropriate to talk.
Hello.
Oh my god, stop. Fighting for my life right now. I'm gonna throw up. Lazy cat? Come here. Hi, so welcome to Tuesday. It is not currently Tuesday that I'm filming this bit. It is currently Friday. Is it? Thursday. It is Thursday. But while editing the clips, the memory card that I used, this one I'm gonna have to get rid of because it's only about 1 in 15 or 1 in 20, but every now and again, even though the light shows and I know it's recording, it then doesn't write the data to the card, so I lose clips, and this is one of them. You know, the clip where I actually start the day, introduce what's going on. But in the clip that it skipped, I was explaining what had happened in the kitchen where I was just feeling really dizzy and sick. And I went on to start talking about the medication that I'm on. So for the migraines, I take sumatriptan, paracetamol, ibuprofen, but I also, when it gets extremely bad, I have codidromols. And the next clip you're going to see is me continuing to talk about the side effects of those. But I did just want to come in and be like, I'm sorry that there is missing footage. And I'm sorry that it's jumbled. But I hope you are still enjoying this vlog. And I do promise that I do get more stuff done. It isn't just about my head, but we're in Thursday now. And I'm only just starting to feel completely human again, and even then I've had a couple of minor blips today. But that is future stuff. Let's get back to Tuesday and me talking about the medication. I'm so sorry. Because they have exhausted all options for preventative medications, because I've either reacted badly or they've done nothing for me, it's now a case of I just have to react when I get one. There's nothing I can do beforehand or to try and prevent them. It's just a case of when one happens, react. And the medication that I am on for that is sumatriptan. It's quite a common medication, like for migraines, but it is really rough on the system. Everyone has different side effects, but for me personally, it makes me extremely sluggish. It makes the dizziness and the blackouts a lot worse. And you know, the migraine already makes it worse. But it got to the point yesterday that even just lifting my head up off the pillow to reach for my phone, I was spinning, going dizzy and falling over. And even lying down, I felt like I was falling, and it was this constant feeling that I was dropping and like collapsing. It's awful. I also get really severe like lockjaw symptoms when I take it. All of my muscles, it doesn't even feel like my muscles, it feels like my bones clench, and I get this really horrible throbbing in my teeth. I get this pulsating in my nose and here, and it only happens when I take the sumatriptan. And all of that adds to that vertigo, that fatigue, that feeling sick, and you know, I might also be hungry at the same time. But if I try to eat, it will just instantly, it's a rough time. People also don't talk very often about the fact that it is not uncommon that when you are in a migraine, you also end up with IBS flare-ups. So 8 out of 10 times a migraine is also accompanied, you know, you've got the muscle weakness, the fatigue, the light sensitivity, the nausea, the vomiting, the fainting, the blacking out, and diarrhea and vomiting on top. The other thing is I can't predict the migraines. I don't feel when they're coming on. Some people get warning. I don't. I can be absolutely fine and then 20 minutes later I'm on the floor because the migraine exploded and I haven't been able to do anything in time. Not really conducive when you're at work. Or if I go to work, the next day I'll end up with a migraine and then I'll be out for 3 days. And you know, no one wants an employee that's having to call in sick at least once a week because of migraines. So yeah, when I say I've got the migraines, I just feel like this is the perfect video to really go into that depth. And I feel like my symptoms and how it affects me has changed over the years. So one thing that I want to do, because my bullet journals are falling behind again this year, it's been like 3 months since I set anything up. I've decided that next year, when I get my next year's journal, I am gonna set everything up for the year, and then anything that I want to add in afterwards can just go in after those spreads, and then I can keep tabs and stuff in there. I think that will be a system that will work far better for me. If I get the energy, I will set up for the rest of this year and trial that and see if that works better for me. But I have had the idea, like I do a health spread anyway where I track my health and symptoms that I've got, and then I have a space for notes. But next year I'm going to do a specific migraine one, really going into it, because my problem is I have all of these issues, I have all of these problems. Do I go to the doctor anywhere near as much as I should do so that we've got the records and the disability people actually believe me when I tell them that I've got these problems? No, because I have the other symptom of I don't want to spend my life attached to a hospital or attached to a doctor. And so I've just kind of, when it gets to the point that I cannot cope, I go to the doctors. He can only help me so far because he only knows half my story, because I only go to him when it's bad. So he has actually told me to start compiling a really comprehensive list of, he was like, it doesn't matter what it is, because I was saying that recently I've started to get hip pain in the last couple of months and it's really bad, like it never goes. And when I walk, it gets to the point I start limping. And he was like, yeah, write that down. And then I was saying, like, with my voice, I've noticed that when I'm talking, there's a bit of a gravel there and it always feels like I need to clear my throat. I will admit, I have never learned how to properly warm up my voice, so I know I have damaged my vocal cords throughout my life. And I wouldn't be surprised if I have nodes, and that's probably why I sound a bit gravelly quite often. But I also have chronic rhinitis from my allergies, and I have gastrointestinal stuff from, like, indigestion. And that can cause damage as well. So, you know, there's all these different things that because I don't go to the doctor and I just kind of deal with it myself and get on with it, that they're like, well, yeah, we need to know these things. So yeah, we're in this whole process. But anyway, that is a huge rant and I am so sorry. coming back in. So yesterday was basically a write-off. I managed to do a couple of bits in the morning, and I basically then took the absolute maximum of everything that I could. So by this point, I'd been awake for 10 hours fighting this migraine, and people don't talk, well, they do, but people don't understand the exhaustion. It's like bone deep exhaustion. And there have been times where I've just sat there and cried because I am so exhausted from just dealing with the pain and trying to just survive, and just basic function just does not happen. I cried yesterday because I needed to pee and I didn't want to get up because getting up meant that I would be sick, and I just cried my way to the bathroom. It was a whole thing. I did crash out about 12. I remember waking up at least twice to go to the bathroom, but then finally at 9:30 at night, I woke up. I went downstairs, made myself some food. As you saw in the earlier clip, I knew I had work to get done. And then around about 2 a.m, I went back to sleep. I woke up briefly at 4. I got up, went downstairs, made myself a jam sandwich and grabbed myself my energy drink just to kickstart my system. As you saw on the footage, I had a bit of a nap. I kind of dozed. I didn't fully sleep, but I did doze for about 25 minutes, and then I just lay there scrolling on my phone for half an hour until eventually things stabilized enough for me to go, right, let's try getting up again. And so far, so not too bad. So it's been about an hour. I've washed my hair. I'm now sat filming. My stomach's not doing the dropping thing and I get this weird, almost like, you know, when you get a hand warmer and when you break the gel and it's the crystals and it starts to warm up, I get that feeling in my core, right where my diaphragm is. I get that sort of warmth start blooming through me, and when I feel that, I know I'm about to black out because it trickles through the rest of my body. It seems to have settled. I've still got a bit of uneasiness about me. I'm still feeling, when I'm picking up my pen to write stuff down, my hand is trembling a bit. Things are a bit unsteady. The pulsating pressure in my nose hasn't quite abated, and that is usually what ends up making me really dizzy. So hopefully that will just keep easing. And yeah, now I was like, I feel stable enough to film, so that's what we've done. But in terms of plans for today, I've got a few things that I've written down. I have put it into the group Discord. Hello Jonah, I was watching his mid-year freakout. I put a message in the Discord chat saying that I was like, whoa, didn't black out when I had washed my hair. And Jane was like, feels weird having to celebrate that. Celebrate we shall. Plans for today. Schedule and get my June reading wrap up live. Done that. And then the other things that I need to do, the BBMYA awards that I think I kind of mentioned yesterday, the Book Blogger Novel of the Year award. The deadline is the 10th to get the first round in, and I had 21 books. I've now got 13 or 12 remaining. So, you know, it's the 8th today. If I get at least 5 done today, 5 done tomorrow, and then the last 2 on the 10th, I'm done. I've put 5 that I must do, and then 7 would be my ideal, and if I can get any more done, fantastic. I want to edit yesterday's, and I want to make some graphics and stuff for it to show you what I'm getting up to. We also have Gavin going live at 11 doing some Summerween reading sprints, so I'll be hopefully getting in on that and reading. And then I had some just personal stuff, was wash my hair. I've got my phone call at 12 o'clock. I'm going to sit, work out an actual sort of time slot and a actual schedule for today, and then I'll let you know where we're at. Hello, so not too far later. Yesterday's hours and stuff I worked out, and because of everything going haywire, actual work time, I only actually did a little bit of reading for Summerween, and I filmed, you know, the intro to this. So the only actual work time that I did was 34 minutes. Not great, but at the same time, you know, I've got to take into account I wasn't well, and it was a case of survival yesterday. That being said, I have now got myself a little work plan for today with all my timings and everything. So 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is going to be the filming of this and the intro for Summerween. Any time I've got left over before 11 a.m, I will try and get 1 or 2 of the BBMYA award books read. From 11 to 12 I will watch Gavin's sprints. At 12 o'clock I have my phone call. From 1 till 4, if I don't need another lie down or a nap, then I will be working on this. My uncle did in fact just buy some printer ink, so I can now print out the last bits that I needed for all of my June spreads. And then from 6 till 9 p.m. I am allocating that as reading time, so that's where I'm going to do some Summerween bits, because I've got an Arc of the Reaper by Jackson P. I keep trying to say Bennett, I think it's Brown. So The Reaper by Jackson P. Brown is out this Thursday, and so I want to try and get it finished before then. So I want to get a good chunk of that done today. On migraine days and the 1 to 2 days following them, I tend to sleep a lot more and be very low energy. So hopefully at that point I'll be ready to go to bed, but if I find that I'm not quite ready, I'll probably end up just watching some catch-up videos on YouTube. Okay, so now we have a plan, an actual like written down timing for the day. I guess it's time for me to actually go and get that done. Yeah. Hello, happy Saturday. No. What? Why? Why, brain? Come on. Hello, happy Wednesday. It is currently 9:25 a.m. This is post shopping Kirsty, who 90% of the time when I go shopping for groceries, I go with my uncle because he's got the car. So I go, I do my shopping, come home, quick and easy, not a problem. The downside of that is that because he's got a lot more health problems than I do, he quite often can't be out and about for too long. So even though he's happy to sit and wait for me in the car, I feel bad if I take like an hour looking around. So I'm usually a lot quicker, which means that I either miss things or I just don't pick up stuff. that maybe I would like to, but I'm like, no, let's get the concise things. So when it's my payday, I always walk down to the shop. I take my little granny trolley, and it literally is my granny one because it was my granny's. And I take myself for a walk down to the shop. I then will spend anything from an hour to an hour and a half just walking around the shop, looking at all the shelves. Sometimes I'll pick up things that I'll be like, oh, do you know what? I've not made this in forever. So for example, today I picked up some korma paste and some coconut milk so I can make myself some korma. And then I was like, oh, let's try some new things. Because that's one thing I always challenge myself is every payday I buy something I've never tried before. I bought myself multiple things to try and just a little treat to myself. So the little treat to myself is a mug, my little summer mug. I now have mugs that are sort of, I can use them anytime, but they're to predominantly be used at certain times of year. It's just cute. And I'm gonna get glasses as well. And then as far as trying new foods go, the first one we've got is a pad thai sauce from Wagamama. I have never tried pad thai. I know that pad thai, I think, is traditionally meant to have prawn in it, which I can't and don't eat shellfish. I just, And that's why a lot of specifically Asian cuisine has been very cut off for me, because a lot of it uses like fish sauce and is reliant on prawns and things like that, and I just can't do it. But if I can buy the sauce and then I choose what goes in, I can try it. And I do want to try more flavours of food. Speaking of, I also bought a pack of miso sachets, so it's like miso base, because I know I've tried miso in the past and I know I hated it when I was a bit younger, but I'm older, my taste buds have changed, so maybe I can try. There's like 3 or 4 different ways that you can use it on the back, so I'm going to try different things. Then we have the ones that are a lot more risky. The first is, I don't like coffee, as we know. The only coffee I found that I actually can say I like is when it is super milky, super sweet, and icy. But this one has, it's Jimmy's iced coffee donut flavour. I predict bad things are going to happen, but the thing that is basically going to be a RIP to me, I don't even, this one was definitely, I blame Stray Kids and Bang Chan in particular for this one, but I picked up Puldak. I went with the carbonara. Everyone says that the carbonara is like the mildest one, and even then, you're basically death by mouth. My plan is I will make it up and I'll add like one tiny little splodge of heat at a time until I've got a feeling it's going to be like one teeny tiny thing before I die. But, you know, I really want to eat Korean food. It looks and sounds incredible, but 90% of what I have seen of Korean food is extremely spicy or has like kimchi, and I can't eat spice because of my health problems. And I'm also very low tolerance to it because I never had it growing up. And for things like kimchi and like fermented stuff, I've tried multiple times. I just do not like it. But I am really in a ramen phase at the minute, especially as my local Morrisons have started to stock my favourite instant ramen, which is like a sesame one, and it's amazing. So yeah, I am trying new things. We are trying things. In fact, as it's here, oh, this is going to be so bad. No, it tastes like strawberry yogurt, but bitter strawberry. Ugh, no. I don't have another drink to wash it down with. Clever. Getting back to this vlog, instead of me talking about my shopping. Yesterday, Tuesday, let's do a bit of a wrap up. How many hours did I work? What happened after my last clip? It's always a bit of a weird day when I'm coming down from a migraine. I am left very exhausted, fatigued. I did have a couple of spurts of energy and I did manage to get a few bits done. So I edited and uploaded a video. I started editing both this vlog and my summer ween vlog. I did stuff. I read a bunch for BBMYA awards. I did read my 5 excerpts that I was meant to do. I did a bunch of admin stuff. I think I filled about half of my plan yesterday, like my checklist checklist. I completed about half of it, and overall the workday equated to 5 hours and 2 minutes, which, considering I was coming down from that migraine and it got to 2 p.m, I said to myself that I was going to have a 30-minute nap. The next thing I knew, it was 9:30 at night. I had a full 7.5 hour sleep. I got up, came downstairs, had my dinner, and was like, what the fuck? At that point, I woke up, but my head was starting to slip back into the migraine, and I was like, no, we need to cut this off. So I took all my meds again, not the maximum doses, but I just took like the baseline start of a migraine, get ahead of it. Pardon the pun. Everything settled back down, played some video games, watched the exclusive early access because I'm on Gavin's Patreon, and he's got his vlogs of Halloween coming that he's already started to do stuff for, and so we've got early access to the first 3 videos. I did watch the haunted school one, and oh my god, it's so funny. I'm not going to give details because you can find out for yourselves, but it was really funny, and a couple of times I jumped, mostly because it's his reactions that make me jump, but he's done something new that he's not done in previous ones, and it's just brilliant. I love it, and I hope he keeps doing it because, oh my god, fantastic. And I thought, right, that's going to be me up all night. I'll come up with a little work plan, get some stuff done, did a little bit more editing, and then again, it seems to be 2 o'clock, whether it be AM or PM, I hit 2 and my body just goes, because again, I hit 2 AM and I was like, I could actually go back to bed, so that's what I did. So I got up, and the first thing I did was, okay, I want to go, I've been paid today, let's go shopping. Did that, have come back, and now I'm filming this. I think I might take today off. I can feel there is tension building again in my head. It's at the front at the minute, which is kind of just regular headache, but I've had one tiny stab in the back of my skull, and as soon as it starts going into the back, that's when we're in migraine territory. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. And I am like, right, okay, I think the plan today is just going to be, I'm going to keep watching, because I didn't finish all of the video that Gavin did. So I'm going to finish watching that, see how I feel in about an hour's time once the painkillers have kicked in, because I've got my day-to-day painkillers that I've just taken. If I do any work today, it will be probably mostly editing, and I do still need to get the BBMYA awards. So in terms of like timeframes and timings, there's not going to be anything on here. The graphic I'm going to show up now. All that is on there is just, I wanted to get some shopping done. Laundry is very tentative, but otherwise I don't really think I'm going to get a lot done. I wanted to get the mid-year journal filmed and edited and posted by Friday, but we are due to go back into another heat wave, and by heat wave I mean 34 degrees on Friday, and my room is an oven, and I need to stop pushing my body beyond its limits to try and hit stupid deadlines that no one but me cares about. Like, sometimes I will push myself because I need to hit the algorithm, like, you know, the mid-year freak out. I could have been half dead and I still would have filmed and edited and posted that, because you've got to hit that algorithm of posting it in June if you're going to get any traction. And even then, I seem to have just completely missed the mark because it barely performed well at all. Because that, again, like, this vlog is a week in life, which means I'm going to talk about some of the planning, some of the ways that I do things. I don't typically try to follow trends, and I don't typically care all that much about numbers, but as I've said, certainly by the end of next year, I really want to up my game, and I want to get to a point where maybe I can start looking at monetization. I've tried before, you know, following trends and jumping on the bandwagons and all of this, and it seems like it doesn't matter what I've tried to do, I do not grow as much as other people. The only time I see significant growth on this channel is in December, when I post my reading journal setup. That always explodes, but even then, last year, it did not do anywhere near as much as it would normally. Previous years, it's been within a month, it's at 12, 13k. It's been 7 months and it's only just hit 8k views, and I'm a bit like, okay. I did post it a little bit later than normal. Normally I post it in the first week of December. This time it was like the 3rd week. And so I feel like that did actually have an impact. So, you know, I've got certain things, but in general, I don't follow them. Maybe this year I will look into it a bit more. I definitely want to start upping my Instagram game. I have been really trying to focus on post something every week. K-pop Demon Hunters, even though I have not yet watched it, I've seen enough about it and I've read enough books, because as we know, what are my favourite things to read about? And this was even before I got into K-pop. This has been a staple for me since I was a kid. Asian mythology and demons are two of my favourite things. So when I saw that there was a film now with K-pop, I was like, do you know what? I'm scared now to watch it. I feel like it's been so overhyped that it's stopped me from wanting to watch it because I'm scared I won't love it. But I was like, I'm still going to do a post. So I did on Instagram, like, if you love K-pop Demon Hunters, read these books. And I have considered doing it as a video form as well. It's like that trend recently where it's like, you know, how well do we match reading tastes? I did plan a video for that and I'm still thinking about doing it, but now I'm worried that it's too far past the kind of trend and people just won't be interested. I've always got those doubts and thoughts floating around whenever I'm planning and working on what I'm going to do. And then there's always those demons in your head that are like, well, is it actually worth it? You barely scrape 100 views per video. Why do you keep doing it? But those demons are just they're jealous because they don't really get enough attention, and that's just them throwing a tantrum and sulking, and because they can't get their way, they try to make me feel bad. But I try to not give them the time of day. Every now and again I'll indulge and be like, right, okay, what have you got to say? And then I just go, that's wrong, fuck off. And that is one of them. Like, I do this because I love it, and whether I get 10 or 1,000 views, I'm grateful for every single one, and it's not going to stop me from keeping going. Do I want to grow? And do I want to continue to see a forward trajectory? Yes. Do I really know how to do that? And do I get frustrated when I seem to be slowing down instead of speeding up? When I'm doing more each year and I'm not just doing the same things every year, and I do try to push myself? Yeah, it is. It's going to be. But you're in a very saturated market. There's only so much attention you can grab off people, you know? Anyway, that's a rant and a half. This has just been a really rambly. This is what happens when I don't plan a video and I'm like, hey, let's do a candid sit down and just bare all video. We ramble. Anyway, like I said, I don't have any specific plans today. If I end up setting up and doing any work, I will log it. I will log the hours. But I think today is going to be a rest and recovery day. Anyway, gonna go. Speak to you in a bit. Hello, welcome to Thursday. It is 8 in the morning and I have already completed one really big thing, a few essential things for the day, but not like, well, they're on my must complete list, and then a couple of little minor things. Before we get into that, to begin with, what did I get up to yesterday? As I said, Wednesday was a bit of a rest day. I was still feeling groggy with the migraine. I still could tell that I wasn't 100%, even though I felt so much better in and of myself. I still got some things done. I got a few bits of filming done, so obviously all the clips from me talking yesterday, that all went towards work hours. I did do a couple of the BBMYA awards. But other than that, I definitely did rest. I watched a lot of Gavin yesterday. Jonah and I tandem watched his Summerween vlog. Every time Jonah had an ad break, I was pausing and then we were like playing catch up, and it was really fun, and it was a really unique way of watching something with people. I guess it was kind of like watching a premiere, but with, you know, like as a group setting, and it was really fun. And then I decided that because I wasn't up for watching a film where I need to fully concentrate, I decided to re-watch a couple of Gavin's like horror vlogs where he goes to spooky places, and I ended up spending most of the rest of the day just watching that. I cooked the most amazing food for dinner. I bought some Greek flatbreads because I've realised I really like them, and then I made myself my first ever attempt at trying to caramelise something. I did caramelised pork medallions, and I also added a bit of mirin. It's like a sweet vinegar that you put on rice, but it also works really well when you're cooking things. So I added that and a little bit of sugar into a pan, and then I fried the medallions. Great choice. And what I did is I did the flatbread, some garlic and herb Philadelphia, lettuce, put the pork on top, and then sprinkled some spring onions, rolled it up, and then ate it as like a little burrito. And oh my god, it was so good. I've just had another one with like the leftover bits, and then I was doing okay, but all of a sudden around 6:30 I started to feel a little bit tired. But it wasn't that I'm just a little bit tired, it was that bone deep exhaustion. My head was starting to like roll forward and I was struggling to stay conscious. So I was like, right, okay, we're doing that, are we, body? Went upstairs, realised my room had started to warm up because, contrary to the fact that I am wearing a sweater right now, it is in fact the first day of the impending heat wave. It is due to hit about 28, 29 today. Tomorrow we're due to hit 30, 31, and by Saturday we are due to be at 34 degrees in my area. Anything over about 25, I really struggle. Not only because the medications that I'm on leave me very susceptible and vulnerable to heat, but also I have one of my medical conditions is directly affected by heat, and I'm not talking the migraines. I'm talking about something else entirely that I don't think I've ever touched on this channel, and I'm not going to go into it now. It's one that I'm still it's still a bit too vulnerable and personal for me to talk about, but yeah, that one is directly impacted by heat, and the hotter it gets, the more ill I get from it. There is a pigeon just casually perched on the fence. The fence is like this thick, and this thing's just like he looks like a tennis ball. My room is already really hot. It's like 25 degrees in there currently. So it's now at the point I can't really work in there today. It's just too warm. So what I'm going to do is I have the window open now. Once the sun starts coming round and really heating up the house, I will run upstairs, shut my window, bring it basically just close my room off. And then what I tend to do is at about 5, 6 o'clock this evening, I will then go up and I'll put the aircon on and hope that that brings the temperature down for a bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, so yeah, even though I am wearing a sweater, but that's because since I got up at 4, I've had all the windows and everything open. So right now it is actually really nice and cool in here. I've logged about 2 hours of work so far. The BBMYA awards, I had 7 excerpts left, so I had to read those, then fill in the form for each one and review it. So I've done all of that. That took about an hour and 45 minutes. I've filmed a couple of bits, so I filmed like getting my breakfast and everything this morning. I then decided to have a bit of fun and I filmed a little clip in the garden from this morning just to catch the sounds of all the birds because I was awake obviously at sunrise. So I hope you enjoyed that little clip. And yeah, so today I don't have any set timing plans. It is going to be a day of just do things as I feel like in whatever order I wish to do them in. But I have my essential non-negotiables. I had to finish the BBMYA awards because today was the deadline. I have done that. I need to do both my light and dark laundry, and then tomorrow's video I needed to create the thumbnail, make sure that I'd updated all the information and the description and got that scheduled and ready, and I have done all of that. I've got some filming bits, so obviously we've got the bit that I'm filming now. I want to do the Summerween sort of Thursday's intro and talk about what I'm going to get up to. I want to edit some of my Summerween and this vlog. And then I have got make pad thai and or a korma. I bought ingredients for both. I have never had pad thai before, so my plan is to open the sachet, try some of the sauce. If I like it, I'll make it. If I don't, I'll make a korma. And then Watch the Conjuring is very tentative, but honestly, I am getting freaked out enough just watching Gavin's video. I'm watching the Return to Chillingham Castle vlog. As far as health-wise goes, I've woken up very energetic. I'm very eager to do things. I've had a couple of stabbies, but that was at the same time I started to feel really hungry. I've taken some paracetamol, had some food, and within 10 minutes, everything has settled way back down again. So I'm just gonna, while everything is soothed, I'm getting everything done and I'm riding that as far as it'll let me. If I do something that I think is interesting enough to film, I will film it. Otherwise, I'll probably check in tomorrow or at the end of today with like a here's a wrap up. Yeah, anyway, gonna go. Speak to you in a bit. I think yesterday I mentioned that I bought the puldag spicy ramen noodles and we have them. They've been stewing for 4 minutes. I'm gonna do it a drop at a time. I predict 2 drops before it's too much, but I'm also gonna try them without putting any sauce in. Let's get to trying and hopefully not dying. I apologise if you can hear a noise in the background. The washing machine is on and something metal is clinking on the glass and I don't know what. Like, this is it without, ooh, let's not spill. This is it without any of the sauce. It's just the carbonara filling. The sauce kind of tastes of nothing burger. Like, there's literally no flavour there. It's something very vaguely cheesy, but now we have the sauce packet. I am not going to do what my instinct is saying, which is these little drops on the edge to try, because I've got the feeling that would be an incredibly bad idea. We're going to do, whoa, 1. Okay, I'm counting all that as 1 drop. I'm scared. It's on my fingers and the urge to lick it off is so strong. Oh my god, that smells like death. That smells like I am going to meet the gates of heaven and be repenting my sins in the next 10 seconds. Alright, 1 drop is in. Giving it a very slightly orangey tint. Okay, let's try it. One single drop didn't make the world's biggest difference, but it made enough of a difference that I immediately am now feeling the tingling in the back of my tongue and the back of my throat. But the flavour is still a bit, but I'm definitely already feeling it in my throat. Like, my throat is now tingling. I've got a feeling, like I said, 2 drops. Like, I kind of want to go until I die, but I also don't have a death wish. I mean, well, it depends on the day, but today is not a death wish day. Okay, we had another splurge. You can see it in the middle there. It's there. I like how it's like just got this orange film to it. Okay. Like, oh, why did I lick my lips? That was stupid. Like, it's not deathly, but it's definitely, now that I've just licked my lips, I immediately regret, because my lip is now burning. But it's not, like, unpleasant. It's just kind of, you know when you get a tiny bit of sunburn and you get that dull, kind of tingly throbbing? That's kind of how it feels right now. I am going to be brave and do 1 more little splodge. That was not a little splot. That was not a little splot. That was a stream. That was full ejaculation. That was not a splodge. I've got a feeling this is going to be like my absolute turning point of no thank you. It's now gone orange. It's definitely no longer yellow. Oh god. I'm dipping it in to make sure it really gets coated. Honestly, the flavour is really crap. I feel like this is one of those gimmick things where I'm just buying it to try out how hot it is. I mean, that's why I'm doing it, but actual flavour wise, take away the sauce, it tastes of nothing. And even with the sauce is just adding heat. It's not actually adding any flavour. So I was like, yeah, the spice is not great. Like, the spice is kind of my tongue's now kind of hurting a little bit. I'm going to do one final splod. Like, I'm tempted to just pour the whole lot in, but I know I will die, and I'm going to be careful. So, final splodge, that's about half the packet, which honestly is better than I was expecting. Will I be able to eat all of these? No. Mostly because they don't taste very good. But also, I know, like, the single bites that I'm taking to try the heat, like, that's bad enough. But if I was to eat the whole thing, I would probably die. I mean, I could just drink it. I'm out. I'm going red, look at me. That is so painful.
A few moments later.
I don't have a high spice tolerance, so the fact that I've managed to put half a packet of that sauce in, I am proud of that. I am salivating so bad. Oh. Do I now kind of want to just try the sauce on its own? Yes. Am I going to? No. No, I am not. Ugh. Now I'm gonna go wash this down with some milk. Hello and welcome to Heatwave Day 1, aka Friday. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. It is already 28 degrees. It's due to hit about 33 by 6 o'clock this evening. I'm already kind of struggling. I've been awake since 4. I did open all of the windows and doors, get as much cooling as possible. I've just got back from the shop as well. I went to pick up a couple of bits because one thing that I do also get, I have allergies for pollen and stuff anyway, but when it gets hot I find that I get even stuffier and struggle to breathe through my nose, so I had to replenish my nasal spray. And while I was there I decided, hey, let's just pick up some snacks. But anyway, what is on the agenda for today? What have I already done? What do I need to get done, etc. And how did we do yesterday? I am trying to find, because I did have it. Wrapping up yesterday, I got all of my essentials done. So I did 2 loads of laundry, they got washed and dried. I finished the last 7 books for the BBMYA awards, so those were all read, assessed, scored, and the forms have been sent in. And I got today's video scheduled and ready. I filmed a few bits for this and my Summerween vlog. I cooked a korma. And I started to read Black Butler. I didn't finish it, but I did start it. So, you know, it was a very extensive list of things that I needed to get done, and I got a lot of it done. And that came to 8 hours and 52 minutes of work. So that was a really solid day for me, and considering I was still a little bit stabby with my head and I wasn't the best, and when I first went to go to bed, I opened the window and it was still hotter outside than inside. So what I managed to do was I went for a cool shower, had my fan on full blast. I also have an ice pack that I keep in the freezer for like sports injuries and when my joints play up. So I took that upstairs as well. And then I had a cold flannel. Between all of that, I managed to cool down just enough to fall asleep. So that was yesterday. I'm not having a day off at all. I have planned today as more of a take it easy day, but like I said, I'm still gonna work. I'm currently feeling okay, but I highly doubt that's gonna continue. I was on about 1 hour 50 for today so far. All of that has been editing. I'm basically rewatching a K-drama that I know I've watched. As I'm watching it, I'm remembering some of the details, but if you'd have asked me this morning what was this about, all I could remember was that she pretended to be her friend and then got involved with the boss of her company and stuff like that. It's business proposal, but I couldn't remember like the fine details. And yeah, now that I'm rewatching it, I'm like, oh, it's coming back to me. I've been watching that, and as I've had that on, I've been editing bits and pieces. So I was at 1 hour 52, essential tasks for my day, we have order medication, which I've already done, finish reading Black Butler Volume 3, try and read 100 pages of The Reaper, and then film the clip that I'm currently filming, as well as the next like Summerween intro for Thursday for Friday for that. Editing a week in the life, like this vlog, up until yesterday, which I am almost done with. And then I'd like to edit Summerween up to date, which I've only done the intro so far, and journal. Honestly, I don't think those two things will get done. I think it's just going to be a chill on the sofa, watch TV in front of the air conditioner and try and get some editing done day. But you know, I've already done nearly 2 hours. I'm happy with that. And I'm not doing any timings or any plan. It's just a case of, as long as I can get those things done, that is what I'm going to do. So I'm now going to go, and hopefully I'll check back in at some point either later, or you'll see me tomorrow wrapping today up where I should be alive, but we shall see. Hello, it is Saturday. I survived last night. I went up at 2 in the afternoon. Outside was 29 by that point, or 30. Downstairs where I had my aircon running, it was 24, It was 24 degrees downstairs, and then when I went up to my bedroom, it was 29 at that point. I put the air conditioner on, thought everything was fine. I went up at 3 and my room was up at 31, because obviously to run the air conditioner you have to open the window and put the hose out, and opening the window let all of the hot in and immediately burned up my room. It was a whole saga. At one point my bedroom hit 33 degrees with the aircon going. I was stressing about how I was going to sleep. Thankfully I had the clever idea. I went downstairs, got myself a bowl, a big mixing bowl, put cold water, a bunch of salt, and then I put an entire tray of ice cubes into it, put that in front of my regular fan, and the combination of that with my air conditioner, the ice pack that I used, I then went and had a cool shower, and that little combo of things did mean that I was able to fall asleep. And thankfully I woke up at about midnight and the room did come right down to about 21 degrees and I survived. So at least now I know that that works. I've got a game plan for tonight, because it's going to be as bad if not worse, because obviously it's got the residual from yesterday, and then it'll have today, which is due to be about the same temperature. In terms of work, I did get some work. It was not really a day off, but it was definitely a take things a bit more casually, do whatever I felt like kind of day. Basically just spent the entire day editing. I've got my week of the life vlog up to Thursday, so as of yesterday I got it up to date. I'm normally really quick at editing, and sit down quick videos, yeah, it only takes me an hour or two at most. This one is currently sitting on, because I've been editing it in blocks, I think Monday Tuesday's block is about 30 minutes, Wednesday Thursday is about 40. Because of everything that I've done, I've tried to include different clips. There's like slow-mo, there's audio, there's little pop sounds, there's graphics, there's all sorts of things going on. This thing has been it's taken me about 5 hours to edit, not even an hour, like just over an hour's worth of footage. The raw footage was about 4 hours, but yeah, I love editing, but dear life, do I have a new appreciation for it now that I'm doing a video that's got all of those. And I will admit, I've been kind of, as I've been recording it, I'm like, what am I even doing? Like, no one cares about this, but I'm going to keep going because I don't want to waste all that footage and the effort that's already gone in it. So I'm going to keep going with it, and I will post it, and I'll just see what the reaction is, and I'll know never to do it again. With all of that I did yesterday and editing this vlog, the total hours, I have just written it down, immediately forgotten it. We did 4 hours and 3 minutes of work. I think by my estimates I should now be over 20 hours, which isn't as many hours as I was hoping. I was hoping to kind of be on more closer to 30 hours at this point, but like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday essentially were write-off days. It wasn't until Thursday that I properly started to kick in and get my work done, and that was my first like proper, you know, almost 9 hours of work. So yeah, I am happy with that. But on to Saturday. What am I doing today? How have my plans completely changed? And a very unexpected phone call that I had last night. And yeah, today we actually have a set timing schedules. I do have specific timed things that I need to get done. Last night I had a very random call from my brother. Essentially, his best mate is getting married soon, so he's going to a suit fitting. Only the time of the suit fitting clashes. The older niece has swimming and the younger niece, that's her nap time. So it's essentially they've got 3 things that need 3 people and only 2 of them. So he called me and was like, look, I know this is really not what we would normally ask of you. Would you be willing to meet us after dance? Take her because there's a little park right next to the dance studio. Would I be willing to take her there and then take her to swimming, get her ready, you know, get her dressed and everything, stay with her during swimming, and then after swimming, just stay with her for 5-10 minutes so that his wife can drive up and pick her up. And I was like, that's not a problem at all. Like, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I'm now doing. I also yesterday, the BBMYA awards, even though I have completed everything, I've finished, I can technically move on with my life and forget about it until round 2 comes out. They did send a blast message out over on Instagram being like, hey guys, only 60% of all of the reviews are in. These books desperately need reviews. So I went through the list and there were 2 of the books that were on my original list of books I was interested in, but I wasn't sent for the first round. So I was like, hey, if you can send those 2 over to me, I'll get those done. So today's actual set timings and plans. The first thing we had was the BBMYA awards. I woke up at 5 a.m, so I told myself, right, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m, I want to get both of those extras read, submitted, done. I have done that. For the next couple of hours, I want to edit my vlog. If I do complete that, then I am also currently going through some publishers and signing up for their influencer newsletters. Recently, I did a post on Instagram asking how does someone get themselves on the radar of more publishers, because I've seen a lot of influencer events and book release celebrations and things like that, and there's been a few where I've been like, I would have sold my soul to every devil known to mankind to have been invited to some of these events. And then I was like, well, I'm signed up to all the newsletters, so how is it I don't see anything about any of these things and that I don't seem to be able to apply for anything? And so I was like, right, okay, I'm clueless, let's ask. And I'm not going to gatekeep and be like, oh, they told me, but I'm not going to tell you. I will say here that 2 of the biggest pieces of advice that I got for getting myself noticed by publishers and getting invited to these things. The first one is a mistake that apparently a lot of people make, which is that you sign up for the newsletter not realizing that most publishers have a separate newsletter that is purely for book influencers, and that's where they put things like their events and their arcs and stuff like that, whereas their standard newsletter is just usually about, here are the books that are coming out, here's the sales we've got. And I was like, oh, so I've gone through and I'm signed up to about 25 different newsletters, and I've just looked and only one of them am I actually on the influencer newsletter. So I'm now going through and applying, and I thought, while I'm here, let's find all the other publishers that I know I've read books from and enjoyed, and let's get on to a few more. At 10:30 I am heading off to do the stuff with my niece. Then between 1 and 4 I'm allocating this as reading time, because I am ridiculously behind on my reading for this week. I've just been so distracted. I've not wanted to pick up anything and read, and when I've been trying to read because of my head, I've been a bit headachy. If nothing else, I want to at least finish Black Butler Volume 3 and then spend whatever time is left just really trying to get into the meat of The Reaper. So that's the plan for that. I'm already, I think, between doing the excerpts, signing up for the publisher newsletters, as well as this filming that I've just been doing now. I'm at 1 hour and 45 minutes logged already, so I'm like, I'm happy with that. It's not even 9 AM and I've already done nearly 2 hours of work, but I am gonna go, mostly because I desperately need to go pee. I have been holding it for far too long. Please don't do that to yourselves. Make sure that you are listening to your bladder and doing the thing it tells you to do. So I'm gonna go deal with that, grab myself another drink because I need to stay hydrated. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get some more work done in the next couple of hours. Hey everyone, it is the end of the week. We are finally in Sunday and it has been a wild kind of morning. I woke up covered in blood. I woke up, sat up, went to have a drink, and as the bottle touched my lip, I was like, ow, what the hell? And then I went like that and I was like, oh my God, what? Got my mirror, had a look, and all across my bottom lip and across the top was just like dried, crusty blood. And I was like, what? Looked at my pillow and there was a couple of speckles on my pillow and I was like, what the hell is going on? Really confused. What have I done? How is this happening? Dealing with it, was thinking maybe I've just had some chapped lips. I then looked at my chair because to deal with the heat and where I've set the air conditioner up in my bedroom, got to get the hose out and it wouldn't stretch across where my mattress normally lies this way across my bedroom. Putting the aircon, the hose just didn't reach. So I have switched my mattress so it's now going lengthways down my bedroom. But because my bedroom is so narrow, it meant that the chair I have at the desk needed to be put in the spot where the mattress normally is. So because everything's turned around, I've done all right. The first night I was absolutely fine, but last night what must have happened is I must have gone to turn and went the wrong way and ended up smashing my face into my chair. Split my lip, and the marks on the inside of my lip, I've realised match up perfectly with my teeth. So I must have during the night, I've either had, I do remember one of my dreams. It wasn't sexual or anything, but I was definitely romantically linked to Felix from Stray Kids, who isn't even my bias, so I'm not really sure why he popped up. But it happened with ATs as well. Songwa, I had a dating dream. And again, he's not my bias. Like, I love him, he's great, but he is not my bias. And again, last night, it decided that I was gonna go on a date with Felix, and it was lovely, and he was a sweetheart. So I do remember that, but I don't remember any dreaming outside of that. So I don't know if I had any night terrors or anything like that, or if it was just a case of I moved weirdly and wrong and ended up cracking my face. I didn't even wake up, and I have woken up with a very sore nose as well. So I think that is what must have happened, is I've gone to turn and instead of turning I've like hit the chair, busted my lip. But like smiling and laughing hurts. But that wasn't all, because I also woke up with a really stuffy, yucky nose, feeling not great. And for about the first hour, I had a very chesty cough, which isn't something I typically get. We're now at 8 AM. This was all happening at like 5:30 in the morning. And it's like 3 hours later and the chesty cough settled, but every time I do cough, it is not great. And my nose is very blocked and impacted. So I'm now thinking I have a cold brewing. So it's either that or it was where I went out for the hour yesterday with my niece and I was out in like full blast of all the pollen. I'm kind of grateful that this is the last day of the vlog, because if it is, only I would get a cold in a bloody heat wave. So yeah, that was a whole like hilarious thing, to be perfectly honest. I couldn't stop giggling because once the shock wore off of why the hell is there blood everywhere. But yeah, anyway, Wrapping up yesterday, everything went really well. My niece was absolutely good as gold. She was so well behaved. She had so many warnings from my brother being like, no crying, no this, no that. I think the closest we even got to any behavioural stuff, and even then, it was barely. When we were leaving the park, she was like, I think we've got one more time to go on the bars. And I was like, no, we don't. We've got to go. We did have time because my brother told me 11:15 for swimming, and I thought that that was when it started. So we got to the pool for 11 to make sure everything was ready, and it turned out it was 11:15 is when they get there usually to get ready, and it's 11:30 that the lesson starts. So slight miscommunication in that, which meant we ended up hanging around for about 15-20 minutes. She was fine, she entertained herself. But then after swimming, she was like, can I go in the shower? And I went, do you normally? And she went, no. I was like, we don't have any soap or anything. And she was like, that's okay. And then she took her swimming costume off and went to go in. And I was like, no. You need to keep the swimming costume on when you go in the showers because, you know, you're in a group set. Just come on. And we had a little blip there because obviously she's used to, well, bath and shower time means you take your clothes off. And I'm like, yes, but sometimes in some settings we don't do that. She was very rational, which was amazing for a 5-year-old in a new situation. That was great. She handled that like a trooper. So we got the swim costume back on. She went in. She was all, I don't even know what enjoyment she got out of it, but bless her little heart. She was just giggling away. So got her ready. We got out the building. Her mum was already there. So they just went, and I got home and did some other work. I spent most of the afternoon editing. I did manage to read finally, and I have finally completed something this week, but you're gonna have to go over to the Summerween vlog to find out exactly what it was that I read. Then I was scrolling on social media for a bit and was like, hey, some clips from Supernatural came up, and I was like, oh, I haven't watched that in a while. That's Halloweeny, that's spooky. I know for a lot of people it's not, but technically it is horror, and it has creeped me. You're just gonna have to hear my laptop in the background because it just overheated. I apologise. I decided Supernatural does creep me out sometimes, so I'm gonna watch it and watch a couple of episodes while I'm doing other bits. I think I barely got to 7 p.m. before I was ready for bed. And that's what I did. I think I was asleep by 7:30 and then woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and had all that drama. In terms of hours, I did 5 hours and 3 minutes of work, which, because I'm editing, I now have an idea of where my weekly totals are at. So starting Sunday, I'm now on 26 hours and 50 minutes. I reckon by the end of today we will hit the 30-hour mark. I don't have any set specific times for today, but I do have a few things that I want to get done. I'd like to try and do some Summerween editing because I've been focusing so much on this vlog that one I've kind of not really done. I'm still toying with the idea of whether or not I should even do it because I do feel like it's not anywhere near my usual standard and that I have not done anywhere near enough for it. I shouldn't put something out that I know isn't the quality it should be, but I also don't want to waste the footage and everything that I've done for it. So I'm really not sure right now which one I'm going to do, whether I am going to post it or not. I don't know. And the fact that I've only read one thing and I'm probably not going to get anything else read for it, but I'm going to look at all the footage, put it all together. If I'm not happy with it, then I think I will make that decision. So that is on my plan today, to decide what I'm going to do with Summerween. The only sort of essentials that I've set myself today are to try and read more of The Reaper, to film this section and to film Summerween clips, editing, which I have already done. I've already finished all my editing, so I've edited Friday and Saturday's clips for this vlog. One thing I have realised today, I have miscalculated some of my work hours and it may actually be a bit higher than it currently is. When I've been working out my filming times, I've just been clicking on the file and going properties. I just realised today that what I have been reading as the length of the video is actually the time that I film the videos. I wrote 15:30, then 15:45 down as my length of the clips. I suddenly realised, hang on a minute, those are times. Went back, went to the correct part of where I should have been looking, and the 15:30 video was actually 17:40, and the one that was 15 something was actually 13 something. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. I haven't even properly done this video. My hours are probably actually at least another half an hour to an hour higher. Doesn't make a big difference, but it makes a big enough difference, and it makes me feel better about how much I'm working. Because technically, even what I've done so far, that is the equivalent of for a part-time job. Like my last job, I didn't work as many hours as this. So when people are like, oh, so you have a hobby? It's like, no, it is a hobby, but it is the equivalent of a 30-hour job. I'm doing 30 hours towards that hobby. I feel like I'm now rambling for no real reason. So I'm going to go get on with my plan, or just take the rest of the day off. Hello, it is Monday morning at 6 a.m. Can you believe it's been a whole week already? I can't. It took me a while to get into the flow of this video, and on the first couple of days I kept forgetting to press the button when I was doing things. But I did eventually finally kind of get into the flow, get used to timing things, to the point that this morning the first thing I went to do was write my to-do list for the week, and I went to press the timer and was like, wait, I don't need to do that now. One thing I have learnt from this, I definitely will be doing a month-long one and really have a look at when I'm on a good week, what can I do compared to a bad week. I would say if I scaled how good, like, you know, 10 being I was at my absolute most productive, I got the biggest output and I felt amazing, and 0 being I was basically in hospital dying, I would say this week was about a 4. Not fantastic, but it also wasn't the worst week that I have ever had, and it wasn't like I wasn't able to get any work done. Over the 7 days, I now have my final totals. Well, first of all, let's wrap up Sunday. I did decide in the end that I'm going to not proceed with the Summerween vlog. As I said in an earlier clip, I don't feel comfortable putting something out that I feel is less than half the quality it should be, and if I'm not at least 75% happy with a video, I don't feel good putting it out. And I'm not gonna just rush and throw anything out just for the sake of having a video. Hello, why are you licking plastic? Hey, what are you doing? My cat was just licking this. There's nothing on it. She's an idiot. I managed to do a bit of editing. I then did a bunch of journal stuff yesterday. As you saw in the clips, I had a new, well, it's not new, it's an older, it's like 3 years old now. It was a survival music show that they did in Korea. 24 male K-pop groups who have already debuted. Whether it be that they were joining the show because, you know, some of the groups, it was because they don't have a very big fan base, so they were hoping to get some exposure. A couple of groups, they debuted just as COVID hit and hadn't had a chance to really properly debut, so they were using that as their debut platform. There was one group who had been disbanded and it was the first time they'd been together for 7 years, and I thought that was just absolutely gorgeous. Even though they didn't make it through, unfortunately, it was beautiful to see them coming together and having that last hurrah on stage. And they said, you know, one of them, back when they first formed, he didn't make it out of the trainee stage. So he was like, this is my debut and my final performance. And, you know, it was emotional to see. I was originally drawn to this one because it was available on Viki, which is the platform I use. It's called Peak Time if you are interested. And I've watched like 3 or 4 of these survival elimination shows now. And honestly, I think it's by far the best. The judges are harsh but also compassionate, and apart from one of them who I really do not like, I mean, not only because he critiqued Kingdom were on it, who are one of my old groups, and they didn't make it through, and the guy had the audacity to be like, well, all you can talk about is your concept and everything about you is concept, concept, concept. You're so focused on your concept that you let your performance lack. And yes, I will agree, the performance was quite painful, and I was like, what on earth are you guys doing? Because they were out of tune, pitchy, missing notes, their dance was awful. And I was like, if this was a group I didn't stan, I wouldn't even look into them. So with them being a group that I support and love, it was painful. However, during the interview bit before they performed, the judges only asked them questions about their concept and then had the audacity to have a go at them for only talking about their concept. I don't know if it was the editing, but I did not appreciate that. Anyway, I had a great time watching that, doing some journaling. I now have, every round I've been making notes. I now have about 6 new groups I'm going to be checking out. So my total for Sunday was 4 hours and 25 minutes. That brings me to a weekly total of 31 hours and 25 minutes. Considering the migraine that took me completely out on Monday, it took me out for a significant chunk of Tuesday and a part of Wednesday, I probably lost at least 10 to 12 hours of work time due to that. Then we had the heat wave, so obviously I was a little bit sluggish and not really feeling great for Friday, Saturday. And then also Saturday I ended up going out and doing stuff that I wasn't expecting to do, and that had a knock-on effect that the rest of the day I just felt a bit tired and drained. So I think, all things considered, it was a pretty decent work week. Was there more stuff I wish I could have got done? Absolutely. I will obviously learn from this one, learn what things to maybe cut out saying, learn what things to include, and do maybe more showing of what I'm doing rather than telling. Please do let me know, what would you like to see more of, what would you see less of, because I did enjoy filming this and I do want to do more, but obviously I want to make sure that people actually want to watch it. I had fun, and I've definitely learned a few things about how I work. I've definitely worked out I work best as soon as I've woken up. I work best in that first 4 to 5 hours. In future, if I've got stuff going on, I need to plan it within the first few hours of waking up. So yeah, hello, come on, that's room. Yeah, I got a cat. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna head off. Please do let me know your feedback and your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing from you. In the meantime, I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. Thank you so much for watching, and from me and Ginty, bye!